All right, guys, to the show baseball podcast. We have Grant Anderson on today, newest member of the Milwaukee Brewers organization. I know it's probably weird for you to hear, Grant, but I know you're back home right now. I kind of want to start off just with some off-season things. What have you been up to start the off-season?
A lot of hunting, really, mainly.
Okay.
That's most of what I do. Spend my free time doing, and then obviously spending time with my family.
Okay. Yeah, I do have some questions about that because obviously you're still a new dad. I know it's been a little bit, but he's still a rookie in that department there.
Yeah.
I do have some questions for you about later. But as far as like off-season training and things that you've been working on this off-season, has there been anything that you've been focusing on, or I guess what have you been doing as far as training wise?
Yeah. Well, one, I'm trying to get some strength back for the most part. We took a kind of a different approach, I guess, last year, just because we played in 23, played until November. And so kind of take it lighter on the strength side of everything and the conditioning side, and mainly trying to get some strength back. And then also with my delivery, trying to get back, kind of really back to the delivery I had before I made it to the major leagues. Um, I went through probably 3 or 4 different like delivery changes, and I just don't think they were beneficial. So I'm kind of going back to basically what got me there in the first place. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Sometimes you make changes thinking that it'll get better, that like you're going to improve on something, but it kind of goes the opposite direction. And I kind of feel like that's what happened to me. So I'm trying to get back to where I was originally at. So I've been working with Mike Adams at the Baseball Performance Center, and I think he's in New Jersey, or Philadelphia. He's in the Northeast, but he played with my brother Aiden in the Phillies organization, and he runs that place, and he's been a real help trying to get me back to basically where I want to be at. And so that probably is the biggest thing, just the delivery itself. I kind of got a little too crossfirey, and my slot dropped way lower than what I was used to. And obviously, I think it had a big effect on my performance, and I just want to get back to feeling comfortable on the mound and with my delivery, and just kind of get some velo back and get some of the movements the shapes of pitches that I used to have back to where they should be.
Now, was that something that once the season ended that you noticed about yourself, or was it the Rangers kind of pointing that out to you, like,
No,
hey,
I
like we
noticed
noticed?
it. I noticed it in 2023. I'm not trying. I mean, I don't want to put anybody in wrong, but like some of the changes came from the Rangers organization, and again, I don't think they were out of like a negative place or anything. Obviously, I think it was like they thought I could get better at one thing or the other, and initially I did too. I was like, "Well, sounds good. That sounds good," But then it just didn't turn out that way. So it was like, you know, I'm not gonna keep basically shooting myself in the foot. Doing something, and I never really felt comfortable. And that's, to me, as a pitcher, as any player would probably tell you, if you're not really comfortable doing something, it's probably not going to work anyways. Even if it should technically get you better, if you're not comfortable doing it, it's probably not going to work. So I just was like, you know what, I might as well just go back to what I feel the most comfortable with, and what I think I had the most success with. So that's just kind of what it came down to.
Okay. Yeah, that kind of leads me into my next thing here is, obviously you were involved in a trade just here, I think either a week or two ago. It's pretty
Mhm.
fresh still,
Yeah.
but obviously going to Milwaukee and have you had a chance? I'm sure you probably talked to a few people in Milwaukee's front office or, player
hmm
development, whatever it is, but if you had a chance, have they talked to you about like what they want to see out of you, anything like that? Like what have been your first
Yeah,
impressions?
I talked to just about everybody. Really, for the most part, they think that, and I do agree with this also. My biggest problem last year um, was even more so than the mechanics, was like pitch frequency and like pitch usage, basically location. Really, like I was kind of like basically just kind of using one side of the plate. And there's some things that they see that with like the usage that they think they can change, and that they think it should just honestly just flip back to more like how my minor league numbers are. No, not quite exactly, because my minor league numbers are really, really good, and it's obviously, you can be great in AAA, but like if you have a 1 in AAA, you probably don't have a 1 in the majors. But they think it'll get me, like the gap won't be so drastic to where I have like a 2 something and a 8. You know what I'm saying? It'll be more kind of like, I guess maybe like a 3 range or something like that. But they think that that stuff that they see will help me, as far as usage and everything goes, should turn it around for me.
Okay. And, I've talked to a lot of guys in other orgs throughout this offseason. And, I've noticed a trend in certain organizations like the Yankees, like all their guys to learn a sweeper, or the Red Sox as well.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe Minnesota's different.
Mm-hmm.
From you going to Milwaukee, have they kind of told you anything about tweaking the arsenal or anything like that?
No, no, they think my stuff is fine. They just think it's a usage problem. I mean, uh, they've said, obviously the angle is different, so some of the movements are going to be different, or like I can have a different grip and still get the same movement, and so they don't really see that the stuff is a problem. They're just more so the location and like pitch usage overall.
Okay. Yeah, I was always curious about that because obviously, some teams that go out and acquire you, they like what they see, so they're not going to touch anything, or they'll just make
Mm-hmm.
the, like you said, the mechanical adjustments or things like that. But
Right.
as far as the actual trade itself, were you surprised by it?
No, I mean I'm not like, I'm blessed to have parents that kept it real with me my whole life, and so if you don't, when you get to the major leagues, it's really not about development anymore. A lot of people like to say that, like, oh, he's got to develop some more. But like when you get there, when you're up there, you're not working on developing anything. It's it's a it's basically the outcome is what you're graded off of. And so like my outcomes weren't very good last year, and so I don't live in a world where I think you should keep your job even if you suck at it. You know what I mean? I sucked at it last year, so it is what it is. It's just part of reality. I don't. You got to live in the real world if you're gonna play this game, and so part of that is if you suck, you're gonna get DFA'd or traded or whatever. So that's basically what it came down to. And I wasn't. I talked. CY called me and everything, and I have nothing but respect for him, and I understand he has to do a job, and so I got to do my job better. So that's just what it came down to.
What kind of things are you excited about joining Milwaukee's organization?
Um, a new start, and they seem to be one of the better, to me anyways. I've never played a game for them yet, or I've never even been there yet, but they seem to be one of the better teams as far as getting the most out of pitchers. I think a lot of times I remember when we played them, the last 2 seasons, every time there'd be like 3 or 4 guys that I don't remember seeing or have never played against, and they come out and they have like a 1.8 ERA in 60 innings, and you're like, this guy's never even seen this guy on TV. You know what I mean? And they just do. I'm really impressed by what they're able to do, because like aside from Devin Williams, they didn't have any. There's no superstar closer or reliever, and somehow they're still always one of the best teams pitching wise. And I think that goes to show that they have great coaching. One, you know what I mean, and that the guys there are really good at buying into whatever system that they're using. And if it can make me better, I would love to be a part of it. You know what I mean? So I'm just excited to get in there and see what I can learn and what I can improve on.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on they always seem to have those guys that are just like, I don't know who this guy is, and he is out here
Yeah,
dominating.
yeah,
It's like them and the Rays, man. It's like they always
yeah.
have a
That's
bunch of
two of
these
the
guys.
best. Two of the best.
Oh man, yeah, it's crazy how they do it every year, and especially like you said, they don't have other than Devin Williams, who's no longer there now. It's like
Yeah,
I don't know if I could really name you another guy. I guess other than Grant Anderson, but potentially in the bullpen
yeah.
next year. So, all right. So I did want to ask you a little bit. I know you kind of preluded on this, but obviously, in 2024, you'd spent some time in Round Rock, and then you also spent some time
Mm-hmm.
on the big league roster. What were a couple of your takeaways from 2024 between being in AAA and being on the major league roster?
I don't. I try to take every season as like kind of like a learning experience, and I guess one thing I learned from last season was that, there's no way around it in the major leagues. Is where like, you trying to rely on a pitch that you like, even if the numbers say, okay, this pitch is your best pitch, you should throw this pitch all the time. The hitters they're so good in the major leagues that it doesn't really work that way. You know what I mean? And I am not anti-analytics by any means. I think they do. They're a great tool for pitchers to use to get better. And I think one thing that I learned was that I kind of relied on a little too much last year. Even whenever it was not working for me, I'm like, okay, well, the numbers say it should turn around at some point. Numbers say it should turn around at some point. That's like, shit, it's not turning around at all. So, like, one thing I learned, don't be so, like, analytically minded that you, like, let that deceive you into what your eyes are telling you otherwise. You know what I mean? Like, for me, my four seam up is supposed to be my best pitch because the approach angle and where it's coming from, release side and everything like that. Against lefties, especially, it's better against righties, but two lefties is still my best pitch. And it was like, man, up and in is supposed to be this spot where they like can't hit it. Well, I've given it like 10 home runs, and they're all 8 of them are off that pitch. So it's like, I know what the numbers are saying should happen, but then like that's when I started getting into like usage, and so like it's good, but I can't throw it that many times because like there was at bats where like, I've thrown it like 3 times at that bat. They swung and missed the first 2. They fouled the third one off, and then you throw it again. They hit a double homer or something like that, and you're like, damn, how's he hitting this? Well, then you realize, well, yeah, the numbers say you should throw it a lot, but if this guy sees that pitch 4 times, he's gonna hit it. The guys are too good. And it shows you like, I'll go out here and throw to some college guys, and I can throw eight of them in the same spot, and they probably not touch it once. But that just shows you the difference in how good major league hitters are, professional hitters in general, Double A, Triple A, but then especially major league hitters, and and also like it also this season taught me that like you can use all your stuff to both handed pitchers, because I really wasn't using all of my pitches to left-handed pitchers, and when I would go down, I would do that, and it kind of. I was like, man, I'm throwing sinkers to lefties down here. They're not hitting it up, And so that's one thing I was talking about with the Brewers. They kind of mentioned was like, hey, you really don't you only use like 2 pitches to lefties. Like, why? And I was like, I don't know. I just was kind of, the report told me not to, so I didn't. And then they're like, okay, well, don't do that anymore. And I was like, okay. So it just, it kind of taught me more about pitching than anything. And then also, one thing I've told a lot of people is I've been blessed to play in only 2 seasons with some really great relievers. Will Smith was probably my biggest help my rookie season. He's done it all, you know what I mean? And so I had him, and then Araldis. I'm bilingual, so I can talk to everybody. So Araldis was my locker mate, and granted, he has way different stuff, but he still pitched 14 years, 15 years in the majors, so he knows, he knows it's not easy, regardless of what stuff you got. And then this last year, Kirby and D-Rob are 2 of the biggest. I can never say enough about how much they taught me about being a reliever and ups and downs. Kirby's probably my biggest inspiration after playing with him. I mean, I think he was DFA'd 7 times before he stuck in the major leagues, and now he's one of the best relievers in baseball. And they're just, you can learn so much from these guys. And then Jake, DeGrom, Nate, Eovaldi, I've Max Scherzer. I've just played with some guys, and only 2 seasons that have played, and I've had so much success that if you don't learn anything from them, you're probably misusing your time. You know what I mean? And so I just kind of take some stuff that they told me about. D-Rob told me it took him. I think he said it took him 9 seasons before he was able to feel comfortable coming in with people in scoring position every time he came out. And so just hearing him say stuff like that kind of helps you like think, okay, well, you're not the first person to ever do this. And so just kind of learn from those guys, and then, like I said, learn from just watching film on my usage, and kind of not letting analytics just completely control everything I'm doing. So I think those are probably some of the biggest takeaways I've taken from this past season.
So a lot of those guys that you just brought up, that you had kind of played with, and guys like Aroldis Chapman and Kirby Yates and D-Rob and a lot of these guys, they were all free agents this offseason, and some of them still don't have homes right now. I know Aroldis Chapman had signed with Boston, but it kind of I have this question for you. I had a guy on this show a couple weeks ago. His name is Justin Slayton. He's
Yes,
a
I know. I played with him a long time. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's a good dude, and he had a great season this year, and he could not stop talking about how much Chris Martin meant to him in the Red Sox bullpen this year. He's like, that guy was the glue. He was the guy. So for guys like you just mentioned, Aroldis Chapman, Kirby Yates, Dave Robinson, like guys like that, what do they mean to a bullpen? Just having all that, the leadership and everything. Like, what do they bring to a bullpen?
Well, for me, and another one I forgot to fail to mention was Jose Leclerc. Also was a huge help for me. But I think I can only speak for what I've been through, and so like when you have a team like when I was with the Rangers, where you have a bunch of young guys coming up all the time. If those guys and like I said, obviously Justin was too blessed to have guys that are willing to share their information and willing to talk to you about pitching and everything, and I think it's a tremendous help. I mean, yeah, like I said, if you're a younger guy coming up and you have guys like that, and they're willing to teach you, and you're not learning from them, then you're completely wasting your free time. You know what I mean? But I think they are great with from one thing I've noticed that they all have in common, they're really good at letting go of the bad performance that they just had. They could have gone out there yesterday and blew the game in the ninth or the eighth or whatever, but they're so good at being professional and coming back, and the next day it's like you would think that they would just threw a complete game shutout the day before. You know what I mean? And so that helps as a young guy when you come up, because you feel like when you have a bad game, you're like, oh shit, dude, I'm gonna get released or sent down, or I don't know what I'm doing here. And I remember this past season, I came in Colorado. I really didn't pitch bad. Bad luck, really. Like I came in, guy in second, and get a pop up to the right behind second, and the center fielder drops it, the guy scores, and then get out of it. Then the next inning, I get like 1 or 2 outs, but they intentionally walk a guy, and I gave up a single or something, and then 2 outs, and then the guy comes in after me and gives up a homer or something like that. And I wasn't really pissed. I felt like I threw the ball well, but it just didn't turn out well for me. And they were like, Kirby and D-Rob were like, dude, you pitched your ass off last night. I'm like, what? You know what I mean? They're like, you can't control what happens when you leave the game. You know what I mean? You made the pitch, you got hit a bloop single. The staff intentionally walked the guy. You can't do anything about that. You know what I mean? But you threw the ball well. And them two were down that day before too. That's also why they didn't come in. This was like the eighth inning. That's why they didn't come in. And they were like, like you can't hold on to that, because if you go there again today, you're gonna be pissed about yesterday, and you're gonna suck. You know what I mean? And then also, man, like in Philly, me and my wife had a really big scare. She had to go get like a biopsy done on her breast because she has like some lumps and stuff, and so I was a complete wreck. And I've actually never told this story to anybody, but I didn't know what to do. I wanted, like, I don't know if I should go home. My wife, I'm trying not to be scared for my wife, and they literally just, both of them pulled me to the side and were like, look, man, this doesn't matter. If you have to go home, and we will go in the office and talk to Bochy for you and tell him, and see why, and be like, hey, look, like, he needs to go home. Like, and that really meant the world to me, because they didn't have to do that. They don't even, I'm just a second year guy. Like, I don't really mean anything as much as they do to this team. So, like, just having two guys like that just come up and be able to, like, help you through not just the game, but also stuff that happens in the real world, that just really meant the world to me. I can't say enough about those guys. They're two of the best to ever do it.
Yeah, it's cool hearing like things like that, things that, a lot of fans don't really get to see or hear.
Yeah.
And, you guys obviously have stuff going on just like me and every other baseball fan in America has going on. But they kind of hold you guys up to a higher pedestal, and they're just like, oh, these guys are robots. They don't have stuff going on. And that kind of leads me to my next question here too, is like, you're a new dad still. Like I said earlier, you're still a rookie at it, I feel. Going through a whole season now and being a father, like how has that changed your outlook on, either your career or just like pitching, and just how has that changed things?
It makes it a lot easier to leave the game at the field. You know what I mean? Before, my wife could tell you if she was here. I would come in and I would just be so focused on what I did in the game that day and how it went, and super pissed. And now, like, I'll still be that way until I get to the door, and then I see him run around the corner with, tearing my house up or something. Then I'm like, oh, okay. So, it adds a new perspective to life, and it kind of makes you realize, like, this game is not the only thing that's important in life. You know what I mean? And it just once you get there and you see your son smiling and playing around, it just makes your day 1,000 times better. So now at first when he was like a newborn, I was fortunate he was born right before the playoffs in 23. So it wasn't like middle of the season, and so we didn't have they have days off pretty frequently in the playoffs because once the series is over, you have a couple days or travel days or whatever. So, but when we started the next year in 24, he's still waking up in the middle of the night, and you're like, dang, dude, like, because I've actually gotten better at it now, but I used to, like, the second he would cry, I'm like out of bed, like, okay, what's going on? But now once you get like a little older and he sleeps mostly through the night and stuff, you sleep a little easier. But dude, when he was first born, I was like a hawk, dude. I was like, is he breathing? Like, I'm waking up, checking him out and stuff. But it's pretty the traveling and stuff with them, and the worst part is when you're on the road and they don't come, then you're like, well, dang, now you feel like the first day, everybody will tell you, is the first day you're on the road, it's like, okay, I got a break. And then, like, literally halfway through that day, you're like, shit, I wonder what they're doing at home, like, I want to see what he's up to. And you FaceTiming him nonstop and trying to make sure your wife isn't going crazy. And so it's fun, man. But it adds a new perspective to the game, and it's just a joy when you come home. You don't got to worry about what you did at the field, whether it's good or bad, and you just want to see him happy and healthy. So it's been a blessing for sure.
Yeah, and something I'm sure that you just kind of talked about. He was born right before the playoffs had started when you guys made that run, and I'm sure looking back on it, I was kind of peeping your Instagram a little bit earlier, and I saw that you had a photo, with your son out in the field after in the shirt and everything, the championship shirt. I'm sure looking back on that, being able to, I know he was very young and he probably won't remember it when he's,
he probably won't
he's not going to remember it, but still just having that photo of being like, hey, we all did that together as a family. Like, how cool is that for you?
Oh man, dude, it's like, it's a dream come true, to be honest with you. I never, I'm from a small spot, nobody's ever been to most part. And, when you grow up watching other people do that on TV, and you're like, man, how cool would that be? But you don't ever think you'll actually get there. I'm lucky enough that I have Jay Bruce, former major leaguer, long-time major leaguer. I've known him now, I guess, like probably 8 years, and so I knew somebody that had made it. You know what I mean? And Earl Thomas went to my high school, so I know two guys that made it to their highest level from this area. But, like, as a kid, you're just like, oh my god, that's so cool. And then you're like, I'll probably never get there, but, like, it'd be cool to experience. And then it brings a lot of emotions up, man, because I know, like, my dad, like, that was basically his dream, was to see me and my brothers make it, and for them to be there in Houston. Also, I don't think I posted a picture of both my parents on there, but when we were in Houston, they were there for the CS because obviously it's an hour down the road. But that was awesome, having them on the field and just being able to say like you said, he won't remember it, but I got pictures hanging up back there, so he'll see it. But it's just like, man, like you don't really, it's kind of surreal. You don't think that you'll ever make it there. And then when you get there, it's like, damn, this is like, everything you ever dreamed of. So it's just I mean, I really have been so blessed, man. In just a couple years of being in the majors, it's just, yeah, it's incredible. So, it holds a very special place in my heart. And, I mean, I'll be excited to tell him about it one day when he's old enough to understand what I'm talking about. But it's been a straight up blessing, dude. Like nothing better, honestly.
Oh, like you said, obviously you might not remember it, but the picture lasts forever, man. You'll
Yeah,
always,
I got the
always have
ring
that.
and pictures and jerseys and everything. So
I'm gonna admit something here to you. I've done probably 130-ish episodes of this, and every episode I do is with a guy in professional baseball, whether it's majors, AAA, whatever it is. You're the first guy that I've had on this program that went to McNeese State.
yep.
So I want you to show some love a little bit to where you came from, and I guess lead me to. So how did you end up at McNeese State, and I guess how did you choose it? I guess how was the process?
So I grew up. This part's hard. Like the beginning here. So I was born in Port Arthur, Texas, and I was raised just outside of Beaumont in this I guess you call it a community town of LaBelle,
Okay.
which is so it's right here outside of. I live in Beaumont now, but I grew up about 20 minutes outside of Beaumont, in LaBelle on LaBelle Road, and I went to school in Orange, Texas, which is on the border of Texas and Louisiana. Like literally, right when you're on I-10, the last town you go through before you get in Louisiana is Orange. That's where I went to high school. And Lake Charles is about another 25, 30 minutes into Louisiana. And so we played on a travel ball team here in Beaumont. That was, we went to all the World Wood Bat, and we did pretty good. I think we came in fourth my last year we went out of 300 something teams. So we had, like University of Houston was the first team to contact me. LSU contacted my twin brother. Like we had other options. Basically, almost every school in the Southland Conference. So like Lamar, Southeastern Louisiana, and Nichols, all those SFA, and then about every JUCO I could imagine in Texas, aside from maybe Sanjak. But so they were all offering, was calling us to ask us to come on visits and stuff. And my dad, I have a twin brother. I don't know if you know that part. I have a twin brother who's in AAA with the Rangers. He started off with the Phillies and then signed with the Rangers the last, I guess, 3 seasons now, or coming up to be his 3rd season. And so my dad was like, and he had always told us, look, I don't have money to pay for both of y'all to go to college at the same time. So either you get a scholarship or, go to welding school or go to the military. But he wanted us to play ball. And so when we started getting offers, he was like, if you just think about me and your mom, we want to see both of you guys. And so, like, I wanted to, when the U of H contacted me, that was my second favorite school. I wanted to go to UT or U of H. And so they contacted me. I was like, okay, I'll go to U of H. Well, then my brother was like, well, LSU wants me to go on a visit this weekend. And my dad was like, look, if you can at least stay together or stay close enough to each other to where we can maybe see y'all on the same weekend. Because, Houston's only an hour this way, but Baton Rouge is like 3.5 hours the opposite direction. It's a lot of money, a lot of traveling. And so, me and my brother have played on every team together growing up our whole life. So we were like, let's just stay together. Well, Lamar is here in Beaumont. Lamar University is here, but it's a little too close to home.
Yeah.
Well, McNeese is an hour away, and it's the same conference, and they can leave work in Orange. Because that's why I went to school in Orange. My parents were teachers. My dad was a principal. My mom was a teacher there. So they can leave work at the high school and the elementary school in Orange and be in Lake Charles in 25, 30 minutes and see us play on Friday and then come back for the weekend, no problem. And so when they offered us together, they were actually the second. Lamar offered us together, and then McNeese offers together. So we were like, well, McNeese is offering us more money, one, and two, it's not. I don't got to stay at home. I can have an apartment and be away from all that and do everything that college kids want to do, and not have to worry about my parents being home when I get home, whatever. So we're like, okay, it's close enough. They can come see us, and we wanted to stay together anyways. So we decided to go there, and I was there for 3 years and had a great time, and it worked out for me. That's where I learned. That's where I dropped down sidearm, and it changed my career, and I couldn't be more blessed.
Yeah, I kind of feel you on that whole thing because I ended up going to school in college 2 hours away from home because it was like far enough away that you were like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm not at home right now, but you can still get back if you need to.
Ain't nobody sneaking up on me. You know what I mean? So,
Oh yeah, you'll know if they're coming, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, like they're on the road. I gotta get ready or whatever.
Yeah.
So. All right. Yeah, I like it. I appreciate that. So, all right, I got 2 questions left for you, and we'll let it slide here. Are you a food guy?
I love food. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Big food. Same. So, I just got married a couple months ago. Me and my wife love
Congratulations.
exploring. Appreciate that. We love exploring, and we're new to Texas. So, our way into exploring some of these towns around Texas is like, well, like, are there any good restaurants somewhere? It's like we're always kind of looking for the pizza places, whatever it is. But we're gonna go to the other end of the conversation here. So I need your Mount Rushmore. I need your top 4, and it's got to be restaurant chains, and they got to be they can be fast food or sit down. Just your top 4.
Okay, well, the one fast food place I put on here is gonna be Whataburger, obviously. I'm native Texan, so
expected.
Chain, you said, has to be a chain.
Yeah, just accessible most of the country.
Okay. Well, that narrows it down a little bit. Dang, man, I like a lot of different stuff. So like, if I had to, this one's accessible in Texas, but I don't know I don't think they have it in other states. But since you're in Texas, Terry Black's barbecue is pretty good.
Oh gosh, yes, it is.
Have you been there already?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
But they have one of those in pretty much every major city in Texas, or if it's not in that city, it'll be like somewhere right outside of it. But I discovered that one in Round Rock in Austin, and but I learned about it when I was in Arlington. One of the guys was like, "Hey man, you gotta try Terry Black's." So then we get back to Austin, and then my wife's on TikTok. She's like, "Hey, look, they have that place here." I was like, "Okay, let's go try it." And I was like, "Damn, this place!" I'll say that they're the only chain place I've been where you can get smoked turkey, and it not be super dry. Not turkey leg, but like turkey breast. If you get the turkey breast, there is the best smoked turkey breast you'll ever have in your life. It's like still moist. It's very good. And
all right,
then they have obviously the beef ribs and everything, the brisket.
Oh yeah,
that's probably my number 2. Chain restaurant. This is hard for me because like most of the chains I'm thinking of are like fast food or pizza joints. You know what I mean? So like
they can be fast food.
I like my wife loves Papa John's, so we eat that. Anytime we're gonna get pizza, we mainly get Papa John's. But I will say I lived off of Little Caesars in college. When I have no money,
there we go.
Little Caesars is my go-to. But I'll say Papa John's, I guess. And then man, you can't go wrong with Chick-fil-A. I mean, the service is just incredible. That's why most people eat there. I feel like the service is great. But I guess I'll say Chick-fil-A. That's a good.
I'm surprised.
That's a good 4. I mean, that's not my. If I was gonna say just restaurants, it'd be completely different. If they had to be chain, but chain places, that's really all I can. I'm trying to think if there's any.
There's some serious omissions from your list that I've gotten from every guy.
Like, what do you got? Let me hear it.
Chipotle has been a staple.
No, man, we eat Chipotle too much, man.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? Okay, hang on. I would replace Chick-fil-A with Cava. Cava's a good one.
Ooh, okay.
I like Cava a lot. That's a good one.
Big fan. I get Texas Roadhouse a lot. I get Longhorn Steakhouse a lot.
Those are good, yeah. There's nothing wrong with those. Texas, but like to me, Texas Roadhouse, and I hate saying it because I said Whataburger, but like I've had Texas Roadhouse a billion times. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
Cava for me, like we don't got one in Beaumont. So anytime I go to another city, like a bigger city that has it, I'm like, okay, we gotta have Cava over here because I really do like that place. That to me, that place is better than Chipotle. I don't know I'm gonna get hate on that one, but I love Cava. I really do.
I'll tell you what, I appreciate the your barbecue spot there because
Yeah. There's
you know,
some
when
now.
Justin
There's some. If you're ever coming down like through East Texas, I don't know where you're at. I don't know if you're in East Texas or West Texas or where.
Dallas.
Okay, dude. If you ever come down, like if you're ever gonna come down this way to Houston, go like down through like East Texas, and
Okay.
dude, you're gonna find some of the best barbecue spots. You like, they're gonna look like a shack on the side of the road. Like there's a place up here in I guess it's Brooklyn, Texas, like right before you get to Jasper. It's like called like the Catfish Hut or something like that. But it
Okay.
looks like somebody built a shed on the side of the road. And I'm going there next week, and apparently it's supposed to be the best catfish you ever had in your life. And I can't. I'm gonna have to send you a review. But everybody I've talked to says it's like they've ate catfish everywhere, and that's the best one they ever had. So those little small towns, man, like you'll find some hidden gems down there. Especially barbecue though. Like if you're talking about
Okay.
barbecue, there's a place in Nacogdoches that we had in college when we played SFA. And I can't remember the name of it, but they have like this challenge, like it's a barbecue place, but like their challenge is like eat like a 72-ounce steak in less than an hour or something like that, and you get the whole lifetime free or whatever. But dude, the barbecue we had there was incredible. My dad knows the name, but of the place, it was so good. And again, it looks like a little log cabin that somebody just built on the side of the road. You just see the smoke coming out of it, but there's all kinds of places like that all around the state.
Okay. If I'm ever in those neck of the woods, I know my two first messages, you and Shug, but
Yeah.
I got a bone to pick with Justin Slayton though, because he said Terry Black's was not good, and then he gave me another place that was right outside Frisco where he would go whenever he was in Frisco.
Oh, he's talking
And
about Hutchins Barbecue.
he was talking about Hard Eight, and Hard Eight's got nothing
Oh,
on
Hard Eight.
Terry
Okay.
Black's.
Yeah, well, if
Nothing
you're,
on it.
hey, that's another one. That one's not a chain. Hutchins Barbecue, dude.
Okay.
That one, again, I might get hate for this, but that one is better than Terry Black's. I'll give you that. They don't have the same, like they don't have the turkey and stuff. But if you're ever on Frisco side of town, go to Hutchins Barbecue, dude. I mean, it's some of the best barbecue I ever had.
Okay.
But they're more like Terry Black's kind of has. They have a good range of like meat, like but like Hutchins is kind of more like the traditional, like it's mainly gonna be like brisket and like beef ribs. But the sides, dude, their fried okra and their mac and cheese, like that's incredible. At one of the best places you can go. Now Slayton is tripping though on the Terry Black's is still, I don't know what he's talking about. But Terry Black's is still good. I enjoy it. I've never had a bad time at Terry Black's, so
Nope.
I don't know. And me and Slayton have eaten at all the same places. He's on the other side of East Texas from me, but we played together for like 4 years. I mean, we ate at all the same places. I enjoy it. I don't understand why he don't like it, but
I don't know, man. I tried Hard Eight though after he came on, and it was good, but just wasn't.
I've never had that one.
Okay, they got one in the Colony right by Frisco, so I shot over there, and it was.
Oh yeah. You know, I know where it's at. I know exactly where it's at.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. I could probably talk barbecue with you for the next hour, but I don't know. But Grant, I appreciate all the time. You gave me 40 minutes of your time. Very much appreciate that. Obviously looking out, looking forward to seeing you in Milwaukee spring training here in less than a month. And nothing but good luck for 2025. But thank you for hopping on.
No problem, man. I appreciate it.